So welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Roko and Michele. And this week, we're going to talk about the power of choice. And as Roko and I were talking about the topic, what comes to mind for me is what I tell my kids, or I've always told my kids as we grew up together, is that it's all about choices, right? And so I'm going to kick us off with a quote. And the one that we're going to start with, there's another one we're probably going to weave in later because we liked both of them, is if you choose not to decide, you still made a choice. So part of that too, that really seemed to connect or resonate with me was, I think a lot of times we tell ourselves that we don't have control or can't make choices about things. And I think we have a lot more that we can actively choose to do or not do than what we will admit to. What do you think?
Yeah. So for me, the power in that is the awareness that even if you don't choose, that is a choice. And so if you want to control or have more influence over what your future is, be more intentional about your choice. Don't let it choose for you by not making the choice.
Yeah, don't abdicate. And I think a lot of that too is when you think of what the other thing comes to mind for me, and I know we've talked about the power of hope, and I absolutely love Sean Akers, Happiness Advantage video, because I think a lot of that speaks to it too. So choices are not just about, I want the skinny vanilla latte versus the mocha, whatever, right? It's also about mindset and how we choose to show up in situations. And so just because we may be around, and I know kids are influenced so heavily, as I think all of us are, in situations and who you surround yourself with, but those are choices too. So you don't have to succumb to the overwhelming, woe is me, it can't be done. You can choose a different mindset. And I think there's so much power in that, Roko, because that connects you to just everything else.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree with that. And but I'm gonna take you into a different direction as well with choice.
You?
I know, right? I'm just like, whoa, gonna do a U-turn. No, so one of the things that I was thinking too about choice as it relates to leadership, again, is every year we talk about priorities and what we're going to focus on. And we've had laughingly these conversations about, priority means one, what's the one thing, not multiple things.
121.
Yeah. But choice is in leadership around the choosing the priorities. It's about what are you not going to do? Yeah. Not just about what are you going to do, but what are you not going to do? And I know that in several of our earlier podcasts, we've had conversations about burnout and being, all this effort around resilience. And one of the more powerful things that leaders can do in choice is what not to do, and really making a choice on what we are going to do, so that you're not overburdening or expecting people to perform at paces that are just not realistic, and creating that environment where it's difficult for people to be resilient.
I love the U-turn that you took us on, because it took me in that different path. And I have to agree, because in my head was the choice of what you're going to do is as powerful as the choice of what you're not going to do. And I think in a leadership role, it takes courage to stand up and especially where we're so experienced in healthcare, to stand up and go, you know what, this is important work, but we can't do it all right now.
Right.
And so, and it's a less popular opinion to say this is the stuff that we're not going to do in this moment, right? And it does take courage, because in healthcare, pretty much everything's connected to patient and patient care. And so how do you message that this is all important, but we're going to choose to start here?
Right.
It's powerful stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
So thanks for the U-turn.
Yeah, you're welcome. But just to build on that, every day when it, just with COVID and everything that's happening in our nation, one of the things that I've started to practice, it is being more intentional about the choice. And it starts with how I start my day of I'm making a choice to be present. So that when I'm with you, I'm focused on you and getting joy out of being with you, whatever it is that I'm doing. So really, it's not just about in those moments where you're having to make a decision in a meeting, right? It's about how you start your day, how you go through the day, but all of those choice points, there's power in being intentional about it.
Yeah, tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I know we try not to get into, any kind of funky stuff, but it's not.
Right.
And so in that, what you're talking about is, are we just going to go through the checklist, through the motions, if you will, right? And we've got to get all this stuff done, or are we going to be, and I love presence. Presence is this very interesting thing to try and define in coaching, right? But it literally is being in the moment. And so I'm not distracted by the noise or anything else. And those are choices. They're choices to say, I'm not going to multitask right now.
Right.
I'm going to set my phone down. I'm going to actually look at you. I'm going to pay attention to you. I'm not going to listen to what else is going on. And you're absolutely right. All those moments are choices. And I think it relieves us of the burden of having to manage the sharing or shifting our energy or focus between a number of different things. If we can just sit back and go, I'm just here with you right now. And you know what? When this time's done, then I'm going to go on to the next thing, whatever that may be. And it's actually less stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very freeing when you are aware of this choice. And it's almost like when I first started practicing it, it's almost like when we were talking about how you can go below the line, and one of those below the line feelings is being a victim.
Yes.
And when you're not making choices and choices are being made for you because of that absence of choice, you are almost like a victim. And by being intentional about what you're going to do or how you're going to respond, that choice, you all of a sudden feel power in your future, in your presence, but there's this loss of I'm not a victim anymore. And it's very freeing and motivating. It's like, with each choice point that you make, it just builds on your confidence and competence even to make better choices for yourself.
Well, I had this visual of, and there was some video that was, I think it was a Covey course that they did and stuff, and it was around busy. How are you doing? Busy, just busy, right? And so I think what happens is what you're describing is when we step in and make those choices, that we're going to basically set aside the rest of the stuff except this thing, right, that's in front of us right now, is the busy feeling of all the stuff going around settles and drops away. And I felt a calm, you describing what you were doing versus I've got back-to-back meetings. I've got all this stuff. I have to, all this stuff I have to do. And it's like, okay, but where are you in that?
Yeah.
And I think we do get lost in all the noise if we don't, to your point, choose what we're going to participate in that moment.
Yeah.
And take control back. I love it. So thank you for the U-turn, by the way.
You're welcome.
So I enjoy this topic. I really do. So thank you for that.
So what's your takeaway? You usually ask me what's my
God,
takeaway? What's your takeaway?
You are making a choice. You are making a choice. So I think for me, I don't know why I'm echoey right now. Can you hear me echoey?
No.
So I think for me, there's a couple things, Roko, and I think the thing for me that stands out is the variety or the application of choice. It's not just yes, in leadership, but as leaders, we start as people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the application of the power of choice is far greater than what we would originally think that it would be, between, the choices of different colors or an outfit you're going to buy or a car you're going to buy. It's about who you are as a person and what you subject yourself to and what you pay attention to in the moment. And I think there's power in that. I want to do one last quote because I do love this quote before you go to what you want to walk away with.
Please do.
Because I believe in this too, is once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And in that, it's like, there's so much power in that, because if, to your point, if you decide that I'm going to be present in that moment, then there's a conviction there. And there's also power behind you, backing, supporting what that decision is, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
And so I just think it applies to so many more things, but dip your toe in the water and start, and then figure out where else it applies. How about you?
Yeah. I would say just leave it with start being aware of when you have a choice point. Okay. And then practice being intentional about your choice.
Yeah. And then it'll grow.
Yeah.
So thank you. This has been Roko Michele, Leadership Soundbites. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share topics with us, because we come from everywhere. And so thank you very much. And until next time, have a great day.
Bye-bye.